So the day has finally come. This is Project Fury, dedicated to the Mazda rotary engine supercar. And this is what I'm rebuilding, my 1997 Yamaha RXG. Let's check out the parts. Mirrors from a Suzuki Shogun, a very special Trailtech Vapor console from USA, a souped up 5-speed engine, stock covers, electroplated parts, new electricals, new plates, new seat, new carrier, new rims, wheels, tires, stainless steel spokes, and here is my awesome GoPro, and let's get to it. Starting with the swing arm rubber, everything has been neatly laid out. Swing arm is in along with the left side footrest. Next would be the new center stand. Had a little bit of difficulties but nothing that a mallet couldn't solve. Greasing and inserting the pin along with the brake pedal and its spring. Next I'm installing the center stand spring, that's done. Next will be the wheel stay that holds the hub from rotating, that's tightened. And the clip also gets installed on the special bolt. Next would be the rear shock absorbers from TVS Victor. The top mount has been changed to match the stock height. I'm using the Ibel 20-volt impact wrench. Love this tool. Next I installed the inner mudguard and the toolbox. I'm installing the sprocket hub now, rebuilt off camera. Installing the rear wheel as well, and that goes in. I had some trouble installing the rear bush, but that will be revealed later as to why. Next the front footrest goes in. I thought of assembling the cone set first, but I wanted to do the front wheel first, so the disc plate adapter goes into the wheel hub, gets tightened down. Next is the disc plate itself, all Allen bolts, stainless steel, tightening them down in a crisscross pattern, and that's done. After cleaning the bottom half of the chassis neck, I'm installing the lower bearing race, gently tapping it with the rubber mallet. Then I flipped the frame and got the shock of my life. I understood why I struggled so much to install the rear wheel bush. The whole subframe was bent, as you guys can see here. This was a major setback which made me question my own abilities because I was not sure as on what to do, but I still tried sorting it out a bit without much success. Within a few minutes of pottering around, I understood that I won't be able to fix this. So I installed the front end, towed the motorcycle to the tinkerer, and he promptly fixed it for me, as he has much more experience and the appropriate tools to do the job properly. So I continued with the front end. Installing all the lower half balls after greasing the race, fun thing to do. Partially installing the bottom T, and then the top T goes in. Installing the Pulsar front forks along with the headlight stay. One special thing about them is that I've made custom softer springs for it for better ride quality on our broken roads. Now I'm about to install the front wheel, aligning the fork tubes with the wheel axle. Got the rear wheel also installed quickly, and the front wheel goes in. Next I'm installing the rear mudguard. The chrome plating on these parts are done exceptionally well. Tightening them down with the 2 Allen bolts. There are 2 more bolts on the sides which will be installed later. Next I'm seating the engine onto the chassis. This is not a stock engine. A lot of interesting mods have been done. I've made a video on it, link is down in the description box below. There are 3 axle bolts that hold the engine onto the chassis, which were torqued to spec off camera. Shogun handlebar installed off camera. Next I'm installing the reed valve bolts, 4 Allen bolts, and next is the air filter box along with its center bolt and the 3 bolts that hold the air filter box cap. Next are the circle clips that hold and seal the carburetor in place. We are using a Mikuni TM24 flat slide carburetor. And next I'm lubricating the cylinder before I install the buffed shiny 5-speed head. And that goes in. It is tightened in a crisscross pattern and is torqued to factory spec off camera. Next I'm installing the boost bottle YEIS system, and that goes in with 1 Allen bolt along with the pipe and spring. I've removed the front wheel to install the electroplated front mudguard. It's from a Kawasaki Bajaj Forest Champion and is a direct fit on your Pulsar forks. And the wheel also goes in. Again, impressive electroplating quality. Quickly install the bottom U-clip, then the RXZ center locking ignition goes in. Not to forget the bottom T's 2 fork nuts. Next is the modified rear carrier. Only to my disappointment, one of the hole was not matching properly with the chassis. This is also after the welding and the electroplating work, so I decided to install it later. Next I'm using a CD Don's headlight housing, and I'm using a specially made indicator set with a metal stock that looks cool. Next would be the Rajdoot branded rear mud flap, one of the first ever parts that I got for this motorcycle. I know it's ugly, but it's there for a purpose. It should help in reducing the splashes and water spray on the riders behind me, as my city is filled with potholes, water, slush, drainage and everything. Next would be the new taillight assembly from Alpha Toyo, and it goes in. Now the same indicators with slightly shorter metal stalks are used for the rear. I think it looks very cool. And next would be the wiring. Another interesting thing about it is that this is not a stock wiring harness. This belongs to a lighting and ignition upgrade kit from one Mr. Abdul Rahman, commonly known as the Allied Ignition Lighting Upgrade Kit, now recently name changed to Sunwin Ignitions. And this is the exact model that I'm using. This is a dynamic ignition system, which means that it will be able to advance and retard the spark timing as per RPM. Now I am not really 100% sure or confident about the timing, but I am yet to face any problems on the ignition side of things. Another big advantage on this kit is that I can use a much brighter 65 watt headlamp compared to a 35 watt stock unit. That's why I'm using a bigger Hero Honda CD Dawn reflector that sports a H4 socket. So I can use a good quality 5560 H4 headlight bulb. Apart from that, all the connections and sockets are the same. Now the silencer is about to go on the motorcycle. I'm installing the silencer rubber. Now the bent pipe goes in along with the gasket. This whole exhaust assembly has been cleaned and electroplated, and the exhaust is not original. But it does sound pretty sweet. You'll listen to it soon. Lastly, the center bolt also gets tightened. Much later, I just realized I did not install the muffler flute, so that goes in. Using a stainless steel Allen bolt to tighten it, and the rubber goes in. Next, I'm installing the clutch cover, the gasket goes in, then the clutch cover goes in. Also using stainless steel Allen bolts for the engine covers. I got the stainless steel Allen bolt kit from one Mr. Kadiwala Altaf. I hope I'm pronouncing his name right. He's selling assorted and labeled stainless steel Allen bolt and nut and washer kit for all of Yamaha RX. Now the 5-speed kicker goes in. I was struggling to install the kicker rubber, so I'll get it done with the mechanic outside. Spark plug cap goes in. So I'll be using a YBX throttle cable. I'm also going to be using an old Royal Enfield kill switch, as it has 2 wires instead of 1 compared to the Samurai kill switch. Now the front brake master cylinder and also the left side switch gear gets installed properly. Now I'll grease and install the left side rubber grip. Alright, so the bike is half finished. There's still lots of work to do. I'm very tired right now. It's almost 10 p.m. now. So I'm gonna sleep off, and what I'm gonna do right now is I'm just gonna keep this pan down and fill transmission oil up for the first time. Hopefully it shouldn't leak from anywhere, but fingers crossed. Let's do that. So I'm gonna use Motul 3000. It's a mineral based oil for 4-stroke motorcycles, 4-stroke engines, but we can use this for the gearbox and the clutch. So 20W40 as per what the manual recommends. But the thing with this is that it will accept about 650 ml, but this one is almost 1 full liter. So we need to drain about 350 ml to a different bottle, then use the rest onto the engine. So that's what we're gonna do now. I really like how they've given all the markings present, so it's very easy to judge till how far you've drained and how far you need to drain, or how far if you've drained too much. So I can use these marks and make sure that the oil stays at 650. That's right below 800, right above 700. So let's do that. About 650. Okay, so now we can see this oil inside. Okay, the pan is under. The oil drain bolt has been torqued to the factory spec. Okay, just hold it with the kicker like this. Thankfully, I don't see any droppings or any of that sort yet. Yeah, so almost the entire bottle has been poured, and very happy to say that very happy to say that I don't see any leaks, thankfully. Okay. Hope all the oil is drained in. So I'm just going to put back all this oil. This bottle I'm going to use to get some good petrol as well. So just going to pour back all this oil back into the bottle. We should have about 350 ml if things are correct. yeah, just a tiny bit of oil inside is not a problem, because anyways we'll be filling up fuel, so petrol will anyways get mixed with it pretty nicely. So this one is fine. Now just checking for things, just under 350 ml, so that's good. Anything under 350 ml is fine, because that means a little bit more oil is gone, and I think about 50 ml plus is fine. 650 to 750 ml is fine for the gearbox. So that's it. Again, no leaks. I don't see any leaks. So I'm just going to close the oil cap and crank the engine for a couple of times, so everything gets coated nice coat of oil. So apart from that, tomorrow we'll be getting this bottle to the petrol station, have 1 full liter of petrol, and then I have a mineral based, a very thin two-stroke oil. So I'll be mixing 30 ml for this 1 liter of petrol, 30 ml of oil, and we'll use a test bottle, connect to the carburetor, and since we have spark, so that's no problem. Hopefully we'll fire her up for the first time tomorrow morning. So very much hyped for that. Also, I don't know why, but the choke plunger is on the bike's right side instead of the left side, so that's gonna cause some confusion at first, but it's not a problem. So for the first start we will be using choke, and this carburetor has been rebuilt, but it's still a big what if, because this is a used carburetor. I do not know how clean all the circuits are, even if I cleaned it as much as I could with all these spray cleaners and stuff. But yeah, let's hope that she fires up. And a couple of test specs, again a late ignition system, spark is very nice, and the main jet we are using is 175. The needle is stock for the TM24. That we are going to set it as a richest setting. That's basically the lowest clip, so the needle sits higher, basically it can allow more fuel to go through, and then the pilot is 20. So compared to stock 17.5 pilot and 165 main, this is slightly richer. Also with flat slides, flow is higher, so the same jet can do better, can provide more fuel on a flat slide compared to a round slide. I'm not sure if this is true, but I've heard people say this, so it's all science. And yeah, since this is night, I'm just gonna sleep off and gonna keep it this way for 4 overnight, and then hopefully shouldn't see any leaks again. So yeah, hope you guys are enjoying what you're seeing right now. Because for me, it's a little bit of a tension. So far the basic wiring has been done, so the indicators, tail light, you guys saw all that, but the battery needs to be connected properly. So I've just clipped everything just to see if the wiring was correct, and still the headlight wiring needs to be done, because that I can only know that once the engine is started, so that will also be done later. For now I have to make a nice connector for the battery in the grounding point, and then if the vehicle starts up, the engine starts up without any problems, we can go ahead with the wiring. If it shows any problems, we have to sit with the engine again. So that's the plan. Anyways, good night.
The next day.
Alright, good morning. So the time is, I think, about 11 AM something, and thankful to report that we've not had a single leak. So the plate is shiny and nice. Not even a single drop of oil has been leaked out. So that's great news. So I'm just going to take the bike out, just out to the sit out, get some fuel, and I'm going to try start it up. So let's do that now. Yeah, the bike will be back here anyways. There is some more work to be done on the wiring part. Once everything is done, then the bike will get out, and we will be installing the tank and the seat and the mirrors and stuff, top box and stuff. So let's get going. Yep, I was very much surprised to see that the engine was still running even when I switched the key off. This is not a wiring fault, but this is a circuit designed by default. The problem is that now a thief can steal and ride your bike away even without a key. I'll be fixing this one soon. Thankfully, it's not a very difficult one. Oh wow, it's crazy. I don't know why, but I switched off the ignition, but it still kept running. I don't know why. The battery also fell off. But you guys now know why. Wow, it's incredible. I think the lighter magnet has easily making it rev quite higher. And of course the block also, it sounds beautiful. I don't hear any clatters or anything. To have killed it, I just switched off the fuel and it just died. So yeah. So now I'm properly installing the battery and crimping some round terminal connectors so that it can stay secured. Again, I'm using stainless steel Allen bolts even for the battery terminals. And the battery is secure. I don't trust this rubber band, but I think it should do the job. All the earthing or grounding points need to be properly cleaned, so I used a pen knife to get rid of the paint slightly and crimped the ring terminal and then installed the ground wire properly and neatly. Rechecked again for any shorts and I don't see any problem. Used a multimeter, the battery was also fine. I'm using an Indonesian RX King 5-speed gearbox, had to sort out the sprocket nut threads. I'll be using Rollon's X-ring brass chain for the RXG, so the sprocketing is the same as stock, 15 teeth up front and 37 teeth at the back. I think it looks damn cool, but I'll still be using a full chain cover. Now the chain is installed and the lock is also installed in place. Taking a short break with some nice bale puri. Hope you guys are having snacks too. Next, I am tightening the chain and aligning the rear wheel in position, and rear sprocket nut has been taut. Now I am using a chisel and a mallet to bend the front sprocket washer so that the front sprocket nut doesn't loosen and fall off. This is done after torquing it to factory specs. And that's done. Next, I am installing the magnet side cover along with the clutch cable and stuff. And it's ready. Now I am adjusting the cable at the lever side and everything seems fine, so I am covering it up. And it's done. Now I am installing the shifter assembly. That's also been electroplated and it's also done. Now checking if everything is fine and it's okay. Now this is a very special product. This is TrailTech Vapor, a fully digital instrument console from USA. Its features include a speedometer, a tachometer, an odometer, clock, a cylinder head temperature gauge, which is very important for 2 strokes, ambient temperature gauge, and even 2-stage programmable shift lights. That's pretty cool. The silver anodized clamp is what you get out of the box. I got 2 Hero Expulse fog lamp clamps and I am using that to make a custom clamp that will sit on the Yamaha RX. Out of the box you get a lot of stuff along with a very detailed user manual to install this on different types of motorcycles, a tacho signal wire, different types of speedo sensors, different types of magnets. All these things are also available to order separately. I'd also purchased their pilot kit for $60 odd, which include the pilot box, the pilot bulbs, wiring, and even the base plate that you see right there. So I can completely eliminate the stock box of the RX. So now wiring is a pretty boring and tedious thing to do and watch. So I'm just gonna summarize it for you guys. So light blue and red is the neutral light, yellow and black is your high beam, chocolate and black is your right indicator, grey and black is your left indicator. So with this data, I am wiring up the pilot lamps first. I've gotten a Swiss make wiring for the pilot lamps for the stock bike. So I will be using that to solder to this TrailTech wiring. So even if I want to reverse it at some point of time, I can always do that. And you guys can see the LEDs, they are very bright and they work pretty nicely actually. Thanks to my experience on fixing the Crux or meter console in the past, that experience has really helped me to install this without any major problems. I'm using a lot of crocodile clip wires to make sure that I'm connecting it correctly before I solder it, so I can easily take it off without damaging anything if I have wired anything wrongly. We need to wire up this meter console to the ignition switch to get its 12-volt power supply from the battery when the key is turned on. For the RXZ ignition, it's actually the red wire. For normal RX100 or 135 ignition, it's a green wire. And you already have a lot of grounding points even on the stock wiring harness. So that's awesome because it makes my job hell of a lot easier. Now that basic console wiring has been done, next we'll be moving on to the speedometer sensor. There's a special magnetic bolt that's provided by TrailTech. It goes and replaces one of the Allen bolts present on the pulsar disc. So when this wheel rotates, this magnet passes through the sensor and the number of times it passes per second is how the meter console is calculating and displaying the speed. But for accuracy, you'll be needing to input your tire circumference. Mine was 1915. Now I'm working on the mount of the speedo. those black small clamps that you see is from a Hero X Pulse, but the aluminum clamp on top is included on the Pilot. I used two small metal pieces that sit on the same bolt that's tightening down the ignition lock set. I'm using a Dremel to slightly enlarge in the hole. I'm using two small rubber bushes in the middle for spacing and vibration damping. Next is for the tachometer signal. It's a simple thin wire that we need to wrap around the ignition coil wire that goes to the spark plug. It senses a spark pulse and then sends it to the console, and the console will output the RPM based on your PPR setting, that's pulse per revolution. Since this kit has a wasted spark, I've set mine to 0.5. In the meantime, I've installed the meter console on its mount and it's perfectly secured. I also rewired the CDI's power supply to the ignition switch and not the RR unit, so when the key is switched off, the CDI is dead and the engine will die too. With that said, most of the wiring has been completed. These red clips that you guys are seeing is a 3-way wiring connector, and I love that thing. It's very useful to connect accessories to one wire. Now I'm coiling up the extra large wires like the speedo wire and tying it down with small zip ties so that they stay in place. In the meantime, the conversion to H4 socket wiring has also been done. As the socket wiring is from a Hero Honda CD Dawn, the blue wire is for high beam, the green is for earth, and the white is for low beam. So CD Dawn's H4 socket to the RX wiring in this order: the green wire goes to the black wire, the blue wire goes to the yellow wire, and the white wire goes to the green wire. Now that most of the wiring is done, I am using zip ties to fasten the wiring onto the chassis so that it stays secure and doesn't swoop down. Otherwise, there is no major changes on the wiring, especially your switchgear wiring is all the same still. The best part about doing wiring by yourself is that you will be able to make a custom hidden kill switch that you can use to protect your motorcycle from theft. That's exactly what I've done. Of course, I'm not going to reveal where it is, but it is there. Now I'll be installing the rear number plate, so the frame goes in first. I'll be using small pads to make sure that the plates stay tight and secure. I got this from Amica Auto. I think these are anti-vibration pads and I think they do a great job. And the clean plate goes in without any holes and it's properly covered with the frame. So, I think most of what can be assembled by me, all the parts that I have with me, have been assembled, and the mirrors are the final piece. These may look different. These are from Suzuki Shogun. I think I'll go ahead and try and show you the Suzuki logo. As you guys can see here, this is gonna make a lot of Shogun guys mad because it's very hard to find. But I found it, so I'm going to use it on my RX. These are actually pretty old, and the mirror itself is not in the greatest of condition, but I'm okay with it. I mean, Shogun mirrors are very hard, very hard to find. Right side, and again this rubber is a little too loose, so I have to change this rubber. I'll do that in a later date. The first lesson, or the first thing that I learned on working on my motorcycle, on this RXG, was when I got it, the first thing I did was actually install the mirrors. And the very cool thing about it is that the right side mirrors is actually a reverse thread. So what you use to loose it normally is actually the way to tighten it. So right now I'm actually counterclock rotating it, but it will actually go inside and get tight. The first time I installed this, I did not know this fact. So I tried installing this right side mirror the same way, and it never went in. And I was corrected by my seniors, and I learned so much from them. And this whole build has been possible thanks to them. Really, couldn't really be possible if I did not get their help throughout the way. Okay, so I think this is tightened about here. So the console has been wired up completely, so let us check it out on how it looks. It's not been set up yet, so everything is wrong. That has to be done soon. So I think it looks damn cool. Let's check out the indicators. That's the left indicator, LEDs, of course, both on the indicator and on the pilot, and right also. Likewise with the rear indicator as well. And this button is your high beam light that should light up. So I think that's how it looks. But now after the tank comes, I think we'll have a clearer picture. So that's how the whole thing looks. I do understand that the instrument console, this Trail Tech Vapor thing does look a little too small, maybe a little out of place on this old-fashioned theme of a motorcycle, but I think it would do great functionally, and I'm kind of liking the look that it offers. Maybe it's because I struggled hard to make it fit, that's why I'm trying to convince myself. But I mean, I'm just kidding. I'm in absolute love, and I'm quite happy with how things are going up. The best part about these mirrors are the fact that they offer so much visibility compared to the round RX mirrors, which are quite limited. And also a good thing about them is that you have a screw behind each mirrors. We can adjust the tightness between these two stocks, so it doesn't move away on the wind like my old mirrors. So this would be a lot greater compared to the same Shogun mirrors that I had previously, made by Attribution, which is an aftermarket manufacturer. So yeah, I need to clean this entire place up, otherwise my sister will kill me, so let me get that done now. After spending a few hours cleaning her room up for good, I just couldn't resist myself from wanting to sit on the motorcycle, so I installed the seat. Anyways, the motorcycle was almost ready, except for the center stand maybe. I swung my leg over it, and I felt very happy after a very long time. I'm starting to feel that I've become a little too fat for this motorcycle. I have to lose some weight. But within a few seconds on the saddle, I was already starting to notice a couple of problems. Oh, this brake pedal, it would have been a lot better if it was coming a little bit more outside, a little bit more to the right. I'm not sure how comfortable this will be. Already not very comfortable, so I need to check that along with my slipper or my shoe. But otherwise I think it's great along with the Shogun handlebar. I think there's a slight like normal RX would be like this, as a slight tilt, and I think it's great. It's fantastic. The gear lever is great. Clutch does feel a little too hard, but I think because of all the brand new components, but I'm pretty happy with it. Yes, brake needs to be installed again. Yeah, seat is actually very comfortable, quite firm, but I think the whole picture would be painted after I get the bike out, ride it for a couple of kilometers. But oh man, I'm very happy. I need to set the speedometer right now. I need to set everything present on the console, so let's get that done. Now setting the console up was pretty easy, but since it was my first time, I did screw up, so I had to do it again. Now that all the wiring work has been done, and most of what I can do has been done, the room has been cleaned, all the parts and tools have been shifted outside, there is no reason for the motorcycle to stay inside. All we need to do is get a petrol bottle, fill her up with nice petrol and oil, take her out for a couple of spins, and do the jetting work. Then go to a mechanic, get the front brakes working, install the kicker rubber, the rear footrest, the reflector, all these small works. And that's it, the bike should be ready, hopefully. Oh, we also need to check out the headlight if it's working properly. I know I've done the wiring correctly, but I don't know if it will work correctly. This girl right here is irritating me. She's not hungry, she just needs a lot of cuddles and stuff. That's right. Anyways, the bike is ready. The fuel bottle is full, so let's fire her up. Those two small stains you see below are a little bit of petrol that I accidentally spilled while filling the mileage bottle. No leaks on the carburetor. The first time I tried starting the motorcycle up, it had some trouble, and I found out that the spark plug cylinder head temperature wire thing, I had removed the crush washer out from the spark plug, and I think that's a mistake. I don't think I should have done that, so I've used a normal spark plug with its stock crush washer, and I hope she starts and runs perfectly. So let's start with that. Again, jetting needs to be done. This is just the first start, post wiring and everything. So let's get that done. Idle is still a little poor, but let's try that one more time. Idle is still a little poor, but let's start with the pilot. So the pilot's air screw is on this side, so let me restart the bike, turn the idle up, and then adjust the air screw. Oh, that was fun. Anyways, she's fluttering a lot, but she does pull. Once she heats up, she pulls quite nicely. I'll need to still keep working on the jetting. The engine does get hot quite easily, but apart from that, I'm extremely happy with how things are coming out. So as you guys just saw that the engine was sputtering a lot, smoking a lot, and not able to pick up revs cleanly. This is because the jetting was too rich. So I'm going to go 2 notches up on the needle, so the clip will be sitting on the middle of the needle, slightly leaning out the mixture. Let's see how that works now. Okay, jetting is done. We're running low on fuel. Fan. And instantly you guys will be able to notice that the engine is picking up revs much cleanly. So now it's time to put the seat on, put you guys on the action camera on the helmet and go for a ride. Okay, on the helmet cam after a long time, let's go for the first ride. Man, so many cats here. Come on, move guys. Oh, it's very sunny. We only got just a little bit of petrol left, but should be enough, I hope. Let's go. Bike feels extremely lively actually. Oh, she's fun. Oh, she's a lot of fun. Oh, the way she pulls is beautiful. The clutch needs some work anyways. It's beautiful. Beautiful. Oh. I'm too scared to go any more beyond this. Yeah. I'm able to touch it actually. Quite nice. The RPM is just below 2000 RPM. Indicators, everything works. I think, oops, I think the fuse is blown. I'll have to check that. Yeah, I think the fuse is blown. Oh, the fuse is fine. I don't know why. The moment the engine is running, it's acting weird, but I think there's some shorting happening somewhere. I have to check that out. Yeah, there is some shorting happening. I have to check the wiring, but anyways, awesome stuff.
The next day.
Alright, so I've spent a solid amount of time trying to sort out all the electricals. First one being that the horn was not working properly. I did adjust the screw that was present, but no avail. That was a brand new horn and it didn't work properly. So I had to throw that away and use my old horn, which is working perfectly. Once again, I'm grateful that I did not throw that away, unlike so many other parts that I did throw away, unfortunately. Perfectly fine parts that I did throw away, just because I thought that these are replaceables and I had the replacements with me, and under the assumption that they were in good shape. But yes, apart from the horn, that was fine. The second major issue is that the headlight was not working. And the third issue, which is very much related to that, is that the battery was not receiving charge at all. So I tried with different RR units and I had the exact same model, but the older one that I was using for the analog console. If you guys are followers of the channel for quite some time, you will know that I used to have a crux R meter console with an electronic tachometer and RPM meter. So that for that purpose I had to replace the battery and the RR unit for it to work properly. So I also understood the fact that the RR that the Elite kit comes with is exactly the same with that RR. Only modification is that there is one more cable inserted on the red line, the positive line, and that goes to the CDI, which you can use as a kill switch. So I have rewired the kill switch in another way. You guys saw that, so I've taken off that wire. And I tried replacing the RR. I also ordered a new RR kit from Abdul sir from Ali, and he also gave me that. But fortunately, I fixed the problem. The issue was the fact that there was a small manufacturing defect on the coil plate wiring. When I opened this box of this Elite kit, I did not think that this yellow wire being cut is a problem. But now I realize it is a problem because this is supposed to supply alternating current, a lot of voltage current to the wiring harness and to the RR unit. But unfortunately, as this is cut, I am not receiving any AC current, so the battery was not getting charged. So I've got a bigger battery, but now the fact that only this wire is the problem, I think I'll be okay with the smaller battery. I don't know. I'm gonna try and connect this, and I do not want to record it because I want to focus on doing it correctly. So I'm just giving you a small information as on what to do here if you guys receive the same issue with the kit. But otherwise, I'm pretty happy with it. So I'm gonna try and do it. I think I have to remove the coil plate ultimately to get better access to the wire, and this is actually the easy part. This is the hardest part because I would wish if this wire was slightly longer so I can cut and solder another wire, but unfortunately that's not the case. So yeah, this is gonna be the harder part, but we'll see what we can do. So here is the beautiful coil plate, 12 poles, and looks great. It's your black wire, your negative, and this white and yellow soldered together. This is your positive for alternating current. So when you switch this over, you guys can see all the wiring coming out, but this yellow wire is unfortunately cut. I've made this wire. I've used a similar crimp connector and about similar length, slightly longer, so that in case if I have to solder anything, I can always do that. So anyways, yes, I'm gonna now try to remove the sleeve and then solder this wire here, and then have the wire go around to this wire, the one that connects from the coil plate to the body wiring, and that should go to the RR unit and should hopefully charge my battery and give power to the headlight. So this is the last work actually that remains on the electricals. I really hope that it works. So fingers crossed. So after spending some time getting the wire done and installing it, covering everything up, I'm happy to say that it solved the issue. If you're eager to see how the headlight performs in the dark, wait till the end. You will not regret it. It's a day and night difference compared to the stock setup. In the meantime, my painter finished work on the petrol tank and the side panels, so I finally got them. So I am just assembling the monograms, the locks, the pins, tank lock, petcock, and all these things. One thing to be very careful is with the petcock. It has to be installed correctly and should be tight so that the fuel doesn't start to leak from there. The worst thing that you want to happen is when you fill your tank up for the first time and your fuel starts leaking there. Finally seeing this beauty take shape. I've always loved the stock RXG theme and I wanted to do this for a very long time. Now here goes the side panel. Unfortunately my camera died, so I was not able to record the footage of installing the seat and that side panel. And it's so exciting to see all of this coming into the picture. And finally, the engine cover stickers are also installed. Alright, time to go for a slightly longer ride. I'm going to fill the fuel tank up for the first time. So I'll be using Castrol Go 2T. This is a mineral based 2-stroke oil. It's quite thin and it should help for a freshly rebuilt engine like that. So this is about 500 ml. I'll be filling about 300 ml. So the remaining should be about 200 ml. So I think she'll take in about 10 liters of petrol and about 300 ml of oil. So that should be fine. Let's run. I'll just put this on my bag and we'll start. I still have no front brake and the front number plate is inside. So I'm a little worried if this is going to be a little tricky because I'm going to the Shell bunk which is across the road. But yeah, I think I'll be going to the Shell petrol bunk. The fuel is very good there, but it's slightly far. I think the motorcycle will make it. The problem is that if there are any cops, they could catch me just for the fact that the front number plate is not installed. I can manage. I mean, it's Chennai. Can manage. Oh, yeah. Okay. Fuel is on. Engine is on run. This sticker I need to rework that. When it's down it's actually off, when it's up it's run, but I'll get that sorted soon. Alright, time to roll. The horn works, but it feels so good to ride my motorcycle after I think 6-7 months. Sometimes it does give me some false neutrals. I think it's the neutral ball. Yep, it was the neutral ball spring and the nut. Thankfully I still had the old spring around. The new spring that I had used was slightly longer, which meant that the ball had trouble going in. That's why the shifting was bad. Thankfully I did not throw away the old spring, it was still there with me. So off camera I replaced the spring, used the old one, and my shifting issues were resolved. முடிச்சிருங்க டைம் ஆகுது. Yeah. Right, full tank. போடுங்க. Alright, so we'll be using V-Power for the first time. Okay.
இன்றைக்கி தான் வண்டி ரெடி பண்ணி முடித்தேன். ஃபஸ்ட்டு இது வந்து ஒரு 10 லிட்டர் குடிப்பான்னு நினைக்கிறேன். ஃபுல்லாக ஆக்கிடுங்க. ஆல்மோஸ்ட் 10 liters. இன்னும் கொஞ்சம் போதும் பார்த்தா எடுத்து.
In true GoPro fashion, the camera overheated and died, and so was my storage was completely full. So that meant I had to take some time off and transfer all the video files to my PC, have them named to edit, and to work on this final video that you guys are seeing right now. That was a lot of work. Anyways, that aside, getting back to the motorcycle, what you see now here is completed. It's a finished restoration job, and I'll detail you what all you have missed, because I have not missed. The first thing that I did after filling the tank up was not come back straight to my house. I actually went back straight to a garage and sat with them for the installation of the front disc setup. So you guys can see the endurance caliper, you have a new brake hose, and the reservoir or the master cylinder, again endurance make, was filled with Liqui Moly's DOT 5.1 brake fluid. I think it works great, but there is an issue, a bit of a big problem actually. You guys can see the clip right here. You guys can see that the disc is wavering left and right as the wheel spins. I don't know what's wrong. The disc plate is brand new and I'm facing the same issue even after replacing with another brand new disc plate. So I think that either the hub itself is damaged or it's just a matter of the adapter plate that sits between the hub and the disc plate. That adapter plate could be bent or warped. Some experts told me that that is the case, either it's the hub or the adapter plate. Some people told me that I could try tooling the spokes again, getting them tightened up and reassemble them evenly, so that could help. Another set of people also told me to check the wheel axle, which I did check, and I noticed that there was a slight bend with it, so I went to the lathe and got it sorted out, because I couldn't get a new axle, and this was not terribly damaged or anything like that. So it was just I just had to get the bend removed, and it was actually a lot better after I removed the bend. So there is some unnecessary rubbing with the brake pads, but it's okay for now. I'm not going to sit with it right away because it's a lot of work. I need to get the disc off, I need to get everything off, go to a wheel guy, sit with him, and again it's another it's a double job. I have to do that all over again. So I'll do that in a later date, when the time comes for me to change the pads and stuff. So that is done. The next thing is that the front number plate was installed. This clamp I got from one Mr. Shashank, CS Customs. By the way, CS Customs have been incredibly helpful on this total build. A lot of parts I got from them, including this clamp, these RXZ front and rear foot pegs, the front footrest, the kicker assembly. A lot of parts I got from them, and they have been extremely quick in shipping. It's not taken over 3 days for them to ship. That's the maximum. So I'm getting my parts very quickly. And Mr. Shashank is the owner of the business, and he's been extremely helpful in this part. So that was also done. I had to drill 2 holes on this clamp, so the number plate can be installed. The mechanic got the helmet lock installed, and again thanks to Shashank for the lock set, because this is one key that I can use for the ignition. This is an RXZ ignition, the toolbox, the helmet lock, all in one key. So that's pretty brilliant about it. So I've installed the Allen bolts on the frame, and then installed the number plate, and then closed the frame, so you don't have any holes on the number plate. I think it looks very clean. That was done. This number plate actually sits on the horn's clamp. There are 2 bolts that sit on the horn, so it sandwiches the horn in between and sits. The mechanic who did this for me, I don't know why he did that, but he pushed the horn a little inside too much. What happened was that the bolt right here started to touch on the neck, this chassis, and scratched it all around, as I turned the steering, and it was horrible. The entire paint was stripped off. My painter came home and then sorted out all the paint work. You might be thinking what more to sort, but yeah, there was actually more to sort. During the process of assembly, a lot of places I had unfortunately, unknowingly chipped or scratched the paint, so he had to come here and then touch those things up. It's either silver or black. Usually we get the bike there, but my place, it's in pathetic shape. The roads are pathetic, it's filled with water, all slush and stuff. So there is no point driving the bike there, having them touched up, and come back with a dirty bike. There's no point at all. It doesn't make any sense. Not a bright idea. So he obliged to come home, and then he did all the touch-up works. Back to the mechanic before the painter arrived. He also helped me install the front and the rear foot pegs, and then he guided me to a tinkerer shop, and then I realized there is a lot of tinkering work to do. So right from the front footrest, as I said in an earlier clip, I felt that it was bent slightly reverse. Also the brake pedal was a little too close to the right side engine cover, so that both the brake pedal and the front footrest had to be heated up and then bent to shape, and that meant that the front footrest paint was damaged and it started to rust. Thankfully, again, my painter came home. Getting back to the painter, he came and touched it up, removed the rust with the sandpaper, touched it up, and it was great. The next thing was that the rear foot pegs, when he installed, it was flapping completely down. So it did not used to stay like this. It went completely down, and there is no point of having a foot peg if it's not going to become a foot peg, right? So we had to add some more welds on the end area right here, so that it stays and clips right here, doesn't go completely above it. So more metal it stays directly on this clamp. So that was also done. Again, since it was welded, it can start to rust extremely quickly. So the painter also touched it up with black so that it doesn't start rusting. The next thing with the tinkerer was that he also helped me install these reflectors that I wanted to do. A simple L clamp with some welding there also, and that was also done. The next thing that my tinkerer did was that the center stand and the side stand was hitting the chain guard, and it was also scratching at the chain cover. So a small weld was done where the side stand sits, so that there is some distance between the chain cover and the side stand. Usually it was resting here. However, the weld right here was resting a little lower, which is great. And for the center stand, there was no welds done. It's just that there is a stopper, the rubber stopper below the silencer, that was slightly bent a little bit lower, so that the center stand rests on that rubber, it doesn't go and hit the chain cover. Again, my painter obliged to touch it up, so that was also a great thing. Lastly, with my painter, there was one detail that I actually missed. It was my fault actually. When the side covers were being painted, I should have asked him to do the black detail, the black highlight on the circle given on the right side and the left side of the cover. I had totally missed this detail, but again, my painter was kind enough to do that after everything, so he came home and he did that. Finally, last thing that needed to be done is that this side of the tank where the seat, sorry for the squeak, I don't know why, but it's squeaking. Where the seat sits, it can start rubbing on the tank and then taking the paint off, which means that when it rains, the water can go in, it can start to rust and pinholes can form. That's a big no. So what has been done is that we've attached a sticker here which will protect the paint, as the seat will not be able to touch and scratch the tank directly. So that was also done. With that said, thanks a lot for watching, especially if you're still here even after like an hour of video footage. Thanks again. If you like this video, do leave a like below. Comment down your video suggestions, video requests, or any suggestions or requests on the motorcycle itself. I shall put in my best efforts to get it done for you guys. Do share this video with your fellow two-strokers. Do subscribe to this channel if you like this and want to see more of this. Keep the blue smoke alive. Prati Baker signing off. Have a wonderful day. Oh, that is high beam. I'm able to light up the entire street with this.